Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Story Seed Gathering. This is the episode that I have Crystal with me, a lovely soul that I met in during my stay in Ajijic, in Mexico. And she's a beautiful intuitive coach and healer, a beautiful soul that you're gonna get to know today because she's gonna explain a little bit more about her spiritual path and who she is and what she's been doing since her awakening. And now she's offering beautiful services that you get to know as well. So, Crystal, beautiful soul, welcome to our show. I'm
Thank you.
happy to have you. Tell us a little bit more about you, lovely soul, what you're doing, and how are things for you on this other side of the planet now from me?
I've been on the spiritual path only for about 3 years. I was kind of in the matrix working for the government, and about 3 years ago, I had a massive spiritual awakening that happened really fast, and it seemed like it happened out of nowhere. And in the process of that, I decided to completely change my life, quit my job, and I got really lucky because my aunt and uncle own a house in Mexico. So they invited me to come and stay for forever, for as long as I wanted. And so here I am in Mexico. For the first almost 2 years, I didn't have a job at all. I started my own business with no idea what I was doing and ended up moving back to the States for a little bit. In my time in the States, I was networking for my business and found a part-time job. So I'm doing that here in Mexico while I'm working on my soul-led dream business of providing intuitive healing services, dream interpretation. I design digital products, workshops, and I have an exciting new program I'm going to be releasing in about a month. So that's a little bit
Oh,
about me.
yay! That sounds exciting. Um, yeah, so tell us, it was there like an event that happened during, that kind of created this wave. Usually we all have one. I've talked about mine a few times on that show. Usually there's something big that happens where you're like, okay, I'm not going back to who I was before. I want to move forward, but I'm lost during this time. It's like, who am I? What was it for you, beautiful?
I would say that I had my first spiritual awakening in high school, and it was caused by major childhood trauma, and I ended up running away from home. But back then, I didn't know there was no resources. There was no Instagram to search hashtags. I was 16. This was 1996. So I just did the best thing I thought I could do and just kind of followed the crowd and the collective idea of what success was. But, you know, years and years of following the crowd, doing what everyone else is doing, traveling, partying, working. I was slowly dying. So my awakening was happening for years and years, and I just didn't know. There's always this voice in the back of my head that said, this is not the right path for you. And finally, it was April 18th, 2021. I had been out drinking with my partner, and there was this really crazy thing happening to me that had been happening for a couple weeks, like nightmares all the time. Waking up just exhausted. I could not get myself together, no matter what I did, no matter what drugs I took, no matter what alcohol I tried to use. None of the old coping mechanisms were working anymore. And it was because, like in the background, the dark night of the soul was happening. And so all these traumas that I had experienced throughout my life, they started to come up to the surface, and I didn't know what was happening. And one night we were watching music videos, and the video for Turn the Page by Metallica came on. And in that video, there's a rape scene depicted, and it brought me back to an incident that had happened to me when I was 17 years old. And it sent me into like a spiral of like negative thoughts and all of this. And I didn't want to be here anymore. I wanted to end my life. I thought about how I would do it. I thought about how no one would care. I wrote a note and I contacted a suicide hotline that night. And it was by text. And I have the notes written in my journal. It took them 13 minutes to answer. 13 minutes. There's a lot of things that can happen in 13 minutes, especially when you're in a spiral, when you're having a panic attack, when you're feeling so negative about yourself. But finally they answered. And I wouldn't say that they were like they didn't save my life, but they gave me enough courage to just relax and surrender And then the next day, I remember talking to some of my friends that were not my friends at all. And they were saying some really horrible shit to me. And I was like, what am I doing? This is not my life. This is not who I am. And I was looking through YouTube and just clicked on this video, and it said the 6 life-changing stages of a spiritual awakening. And it was 45 minutes long, and I watched it intently. And I was like, this is me. This is what's happening to me. It was like this light bulb moment. So it really wasn't a specific, like, major event, but there was that breaking point. And from there, I was able to start figuring out, like, unraveling years of conditioning.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, and then you're like understanding how the services are built and as you said, I worked as a social worker in crisis, services, and of course you can't save everything and everyone, but it's made a certain way, but maybe not for this type of like support you need right now.
Mhm.
Well, we're really glad that you're here with us with all of your beautiful smile and I'm sure the shift in energy in you, I was not knowing you back then, but I can understand so much, this remembrance of a trauma because I had the exact same thing in 2015. And then how difficult it is when you look around and you're like, what are those people around me? Like, what am I doing for work? Like, this doesn't make sense. Like, it's like I'm stressed, I'm overworked, I'm like, it's like, where is the space for me in this life? Like, you're really feeling like you're an outsider in your own life, and you just
Mhm.
nothing makes sense anymore. And what did you do to find your way back to you, beautiful?
So after I found the video, I was in that bliss stage, I was like just having all of these synchronicities and everything. So I started following a lot of like spiritual people on Instagram and YouTube. And the first steps that I took to kind of start coming back to me is I quit drinking alcohol and I quit doing stimulants, cocaine, Adderall, MDMA. I was doing all that stuff. Like I was a weekend warrior. I was always partying, escaping. I quit all of that stuff on the same day. And then a month later, I found a spiritual healer and coach that I really liked. I just really resonated with everything she was saying on Instagram. And I signed up for her 3-month program, and she was certified in theta healing. Theta brainwave is what we use when we're in a deep, relaxed state. And she was magical. The way she coached me and helped me heal, it was super magical. And it was a 3-month program, and a lot of the old stuff that I had been holding on to was really lifted out during that period of time.
And that's why all of those methods, right? We have so much now, and as you said, like in our teenage years, there was not so many things we could actually do to find these answers or find those methodology of healing. But right now, it's incredible, and so it helped you cleanse the programming with you saying the trauma and all of
Mhm.
those layers. Hmm.
Yeah, it really gave me a roadmap that I could use on myself in the future too, to kind of get to those root causes of like, why am I feeling like this? Or why do I have such issues in relationships? And why am I so scared to do certain things? It helped me with all of those why questions.
Beautiful, beautiful. Did you learn the technique for yourself to become also certified after that? How did it go?
Yeah, so I actually started taking classes later that year in 2021, and I took classes all throughout 2022 and got certified in a bunch of the different modalities that Theta Healing has to offer.
Tell us a bit more about those modalities.
Yeah, so if you're comparing like Reiki to Theta Healing, I would say Reiki is more just moving the energy that the practitioner is working with the energy. They're not really talking, they're not really doing a digging process. But theta healing does work with moving the energy as well, but it's more of a talking and digging process because I think that we need both, really. We need to be able to manipulate the energy, but we also sometimes we need to talk it out and process it with someone and have someone listen. So the theta healing classes that I've taken, I'm not going to remember all five, but the first one is just the basic one, and that teaches you like the different belief levels and where the beliefs originate in your energy field, whether it's, just the core level, ancestral, genetic, soul level. And then I took the advanced class, which goes into more of, how to determine where the beliefs are, how to work with them, how to, download new beliefs. And then I took one class that was just based on the different digging methods that you can use. So those are some of the classes that I've taken. They have a really wide variety of classes. They have classes for people that are like maybe medical intuitives. They have pet healing and all sorts of different ones.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And you had also other gifts coming along as you were doing that, if I'm not
Mhm.
mistaken. Tell us about those gifts that came through for you.
Yeah, so I'm just a natural dream interpretation specialist, I guess. I never took any classes on it. I've done a lot of reading on it, but that's something that I've always done for friends. And then, just being a person who has suffered a lot of trauma, I'm really a good listener and really non-judgmental. I don't know if that's necessarily a gift, but it's something that comes along with me as a healer or coach, is that, that unbiased opinion, because I've been through a lot of different scenarios.
And what would you say that you like the most about your life today if you compare it to all of the, I would say craziness, but when the tower moment of your 2021, and then if you look now, like what changed? How do you feel?
Yeah, speaking of tower moments, I think 2024 has definitely had a lot of tower moments for me. And the big difference is that I see it as it's happening for me. Even the really challenging stuff that's happening, it's happening for me for my higher evolution. I'm able to see the patterns that I've, you know, unintentionally gotten myself into, things that, maybe didn't take the best path possible, but it was for my greater evolution. So I think that right now, compared to 3 years ago, I have that freedom of mind.
How beautiful is that? Yeah, something that even, you know, 5, 10 years ago we couldn't fathom having at all.
No, I was such a victim back then.
Right, right. And I know also like in my work, I see victimhood and all of those, they're like devices or implants or programs we have in our energetic field. And it's like when we have so many layers of that, and we come from all of those ancestors that had the same thing. And then it's just like, and then this society or this 3D plane sending us all this energy also to keep us small. It that does take time to release all of that and to come back to our power. And a lot of us are, we feel wobbly by tired because it's just feels so unsettling to actually like release that. Like, oh, who am I if I'm not this person that's supposed to be taking care of that other person, or if I'm not, the masculine identity that I created in my life, like who am I becoming? Like and it creates a lot of space, but also a lot of questions, a lot of uncertainty. And I think, as you were saying, we have to learn to see those moments where we don't have answers as gift, even if the ego is trying to like tell you like where are you heading, what's happening, like we want answers, but sometimes you need that expensive energy to be able to bring new things, but you need to cleanse so that the new things can come in. And it's
Mhm.
yeah, I can definitely feel also that 2024 had a lot of power moments for me too. If you would tell us like so the services that you're offering are really mostly one-on-one. You were talking about courses. Do you want to talk about your offers so we know a little bit more how you work?
Yeah, I do one-on-one sessions, either in person. I live in Mexico, obviously. One-on-one sessions. I do a lot of workshops. Usually those are free. I have a Facebook group. It's called High Vibration Healing. That's the same name as my business. I offer free workshops and live videos. I did one last night. We were just doing a live for the Lionsgate portal. Um, I have a digital course, actually. It's $75. It just goes through 6 different steps that I use over the past 3 years to like dramatically change my life. That one's really good. It's packed full of videos and exercises and different meditations. And then I have a group program. I'm looking for 5 people to do a beta test with my group program. It's called Every Day is a Portal. And the methodology behind that is that when you're synced with nature, the natural cycles, and when you're understanding the messages from your subconscious mind, every day is an opportunity for you. Even if you're going through a rough time, if you're following like the natural cycles of your body and nature, you can flow through life a lot easier. So that one is going to be a 2-month program. Going to be a couple of group calls, I think probably 4 group calls. And there will be some curriculum that goes along with that, studying how to utilize the moon cycles to align your daily activities, how to determine what your beliefs are, where they came from, how to change them, and how to implement them into your life. And then the final module is going to be focused on subconscious mind and dream interpretation.
Oh, wow. This is really exciting. So you're
Yeah.
planning on starting this in somewhere in September?
Yes, it's going to follow 2 moon cycles. So we'll probably start around the new moon in September and probably end around the full moon in October, I guess.
If anyone would like to connect with you, we're going to leave all of your details below, but would you like to share anything with us right now? I don't know if you want to do a meditation or anything that could give us a taste of what you do.
Well, if you have any dreams that you've had lately, I can give you an on-the-spot interpretation.
Well, that's the only one that I remember is actually a really, really short one, which
Okay.
was not so long ago. And a male was telling me that we needed 8 months to do something. And then we were agreeing on that number of time together.
So my first thought is this is like the masculine side of you that's giving you a time period for this next chapter of your life. And in this next chapter of your life for the next 8 months, you may need to partner with the masculine to feel balanced in completing this next chapter that you're stepping into. That's just a
Mm.
quick.
I love that. Really cool, really cool. It did feel like it really actually felt like an agreement. But like it was not romantic, but it did feel like an agreement in between two parts that were, yeah, that could actually makes a lot of sense. This is very interesting. So we'll talk again in 8 months.
Let me know what happens. 8 months.
Yeah.
That's funny because I had something happen around 8 months ago, and on the exact day, 8 months later, I looked at it and I was like, oh, I made the wrong choice back then. Not the
Oh,
wrong
no.
choice, but like,
Right.
if I had taken a different path, things would be a lot different. So it was like, okay, now take the right path, Crystal.
Right, right. The cycle's coming back around.
Yeah,
What are you gonna choose
exactly.
now?
So see what you can do to partner with the masculine side of yourself to have an easier time flowing through this next 8 months, because maybe that's the length of a chapter. I'm not really sure, or a pattern.
Right, 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 right. That makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna meditate on that. Beautiful. So, thank you so much for sharing about you, for sharing your light with this planet as much as you can, directly there in Mexico. For those that are living in Ajijic, Ajijic is close to Guadalajara. For those that don't know, and if you want to connect with Crystal online and have one-on-ones or even participate to her group beta program starting in a few weeks, please reach out to her. We'll leave all of her details below. And yeah, connect with her on her social media, see what she's doing. And we'll put the link also for people to join your group. So if you're feeling called to have beautiful container filled with light and loving healing, you'll be able to join.
Oh, yes. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you, Crystal, again.
Bye.
Bye.